Bill asked me to cover class tonight. There's a sequence that I want to go over that works really well for me. It's a butterfly half X guard series that I use. It's worked for me at Worlds and at every level of competition. It's probably the single move that I've used the most that's been successful at generating points at high level competition. And it works great on bigger people. So I started doing this probably about 10 years ago, going against guys that are like 50, 60 pounds heavier than me, where I was just getting squashed, and I didn't like that. So I started looking at some videos, saw some other ways to adapt some things. So I want to go over tonight how I set up the butterfly half initially, and how I use that as an entry into the X guard itself, and then we'll do some finishes on the X guard, go some submissions as well as some sweeps. And I think this is a great system because it can feed, we're not going to do this tonight, but it can feed into single leg X, it can feed into daily healer, daily X. So there's a whole sort of universe in this sort of movement where you're really getting deep underneath somebody and controlling their position. So to show you the whole sequence, and then we're going to break it down into one after the other. This is very similar to the knee shield that I know a lot of folks here use. So the difference is the knee shield is like this, with this knee creating this barrier here. The butterfly half is I then put my foot on the inside here. And I like this because against people that are a lot heavier than me, I now have a really nice frame here, and I will grab the lapel here. And if I need to, I can also brace here. So against, for me, guys that are like 280, I need to have everything I can, otherwise I'm gonna get flattened. So this is how I set it up. So there's one moving sequence in and of itself. Is to get to here. This is X guard. So you've got one foot here on the crease of the hip, and you got the other foot behind the knee, and you're locked down on the leg. And from here, there's a number of submissions, there's a number of sweeps that we can do. So what I want to do first is just break down that butterfly half entry. So again, you're gonna have one leg through just like your half guard. You're gonna have a butterfly leg. Now I like to place my knee either right on the pec or on the center of the body. You don't want to have it too far over because they'll squish your leg down. And then I grab the far side lapel. This is also important because if he tries to squish my leg, my arm here is going to be a block. And if you also notice, I'm on my elbow. You don't want to be down here flat. You want to kind of be a ball. All right? And then from here, when you grab this lapel, I like to put the collarbone right between these two fingers. That's, for me, the right spot. What I'm trying to do with this hand is control the distance. I'm trying to push in, I'm trying to pull. And when I get ready to set it up, I come up onto my hand and I push. And then I'm gonna roll back, and I'm gonna use my own momentum to pull them on top of me, like that. And that's when you scoop the leg. So what I want you guys to do for now is just set up this position, this butterfly half, this cross collar grip, and be on the elbow. And I want the partner to apply some pressure and weight. And I want the person on the bottom to be able to move the person around and kind of stay here. Keep the elbow on the inside of the knee. Okay? We're gonna do that for 2 minutes each, and then we're gonna come back and then we'll start doing the pull into the sweep itself. Okay? All right, break. Like you would if you're doing a cross choke, because then as you push back, it'll go over the trapezius muscle, and then you don't have as much control. You really want to be able to punch the person right in the collarbone. So the next thing we're going to do, so you're here, you've got good control. Just another couple points I wanted to mention. If they're really squishing you, sometimes I'll bring this knee up a little bit higher, like almost if I want to have it right here into the upper chest, or I'll come in and I'll brace my own knee like this. But the key here is really you want to have it on this collar, and you want a little bit of elevation. All right, so the next thing here, we're applying pressure in, I'm pushing with this arm. This is really key. You got to get them pushing back onto you, and you got to have space for yourself to throw back. So you're going to be doing this motion, and that's going to give you the momentum to pull the person up on top of you. So a lot of times I'll come up to my hand from my elbow, and I'm going to throw myself back here. All right, so in this position, you're going to still have this lapel. This foot is going to be right at the top of the femur bone here in the crotch. This is going to slide down behind the knee, and this foot is going to snake in. So if you want to step back real quick. So this is why it's called X. Your feet are like this. This foot is caught here, and this foot's behind the knee. This is very similar to single leg X. It's very similar to Dela X. The whole principle of this guard is you're deep underneath the person. Now in this position, my objective is to keep him off balance. All right, we're going to spend a little more time on this first, but what I want you to do at this point, go back down, is I want you to drill the transition from here, coming up and pulling them into X guard, so to here, and threading the legs. We're going to do that for 2 minutes each, and then we're going to go from here into some principles around how to maintain the X guard, and then we'll do some sweeps. Does anybody need to see that transition again? Yeah. Okay. So when you're coming through, you're kicking up and you're elevating with this leg, and that gives you space to thread this leg in. And you see how Josh is already a little bit off balance? That's the whole principle of this. If he's off balance, he's putting hands on the mat, he's not going to be able to do anything. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. So when I left this side, I didn't realize that I was doing this or communicating it. So when you're pulling this, when you're up here, you're pushing and you're pulling them back, this foot that's the bottom butterfly is going to plant on the mat, and I'm going to be lifting here heavily. The key is really you have to plant this foot as well. So here, I'm lifting with this foot here, and this foot goes on the mat. Just for a second. And that's what enables me, this is a post, which enables me to get this lift here. Any questions?
We're sliding the left foot down. Bring your right foot in.
Yeah, you're like this, and what's happening is you're coming back, I'm posting, and I'm elevating this leg. But a lot of this, if you're finding you're having to like really heave, you're not getting enough momentum back. So this leg is on the mat, it's helping push you back. This leg's elevating. Okay. Any questions? All right, ready? How's everybody feeling in terms of elevating and pulling the partner back? Did anybody have a lot of problems? Felt like they weren't getting any sort of momentum or having to use too much muscle?
Yeah, a little bit. I was, I think Trey pointed out, like getting under you makes it a little bit easier to get that foot feet with the elevation, and feel like I was getting enough of that.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to be getting in and also being close. So I saw some people that were trying to do this like this. If your arm's extended like this, you're not in the right position. You got to be almost like you're folded in half. And now I've got my elbow on the inside of the knee. I'm like a little ball. I've got my fortress here, all my frames. Like he's not gonna break me down. And then if I want to push into him, I'm really pushing into him. But if you're back here like this, now my spine and my legs are in a line. Yeah, I'm gonna get crushed. So you're here. Now a couple things that I saw as well that I think that we should just sort of clarify is this. Let me go ahead and get the X guard. There's a couple of X guards out there. This would be called low X. There's a bunch of entries that Bill went through with us, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago on this. This is a little bit different than the one that I'm doing, which is high X. They're easy to transition from one to the other. Typically, so if you're low X, you find yourself here, just grab the gi, extend to here. But now that you're in this position, there's some fundamentals that you need to kind of understand. What you should think about is that you want to keep him off balance, and you want his center of gravity over yours. So that it's like he's on an exercise ball. If you guys ever use like those yoga balls, you want him to feel unstable at all times. And you've got a lot of tools here at your disposal to move him around. So I have my feet. I can extend him that way. I can pull him in. This arm here, I prefer to use a gable grip and tighten down on the knee. Other schools of thought will say to grab the kneecap and turn it out. So you can do both. I just prefer this one because it works for me. But you can also grab that kneecap and you can twist. The other thing you can do is you can turn out. So the whole time, I just want Josh to be really uncomfortable because I can just kind of sit here for a while and stall, rest, and then take him for a ride. All right? So, in the position, what I want you to focus on is you want to keep your knees, like you don't want to be like this, because if you are, he's going to peel my feet out and then step around. You want to keep your legs tight. I like my shin here on the back of my heel, and I like pinching my knees together, and I like to be tight on this leg. All right. Now, there are a bunch of finishes and sweeps we'll do after this, but what I want you to do for 2 minutes is to be in this position and just feel, move the person around, keep them off balance, move them forward, move them back. Try pulling on the kneecap to make them go that way. Twist the knee here to make them go that way. The whole principle, if they're off balance and their hands are on the mat, their hands can't be doing anything to you. So they can't be working to peel the legs off, and you're in a very good position. Any questions? All right, ready? All right, so now we're going to get into a couple finishes. There's 3 that we're going to do today, and then I've got a variation of only 3. So I'll show each of the 3 finishes. So then when we go back to drill, we'll do 3 minutes each and just practice all 3. So, all right, the first one is the easiest, which is going to be a technical stand-up. So you're going to extend with your legs away. You're going to come up to your hand. You're just going to take the leg with you. Now from here, you can finish in a lot of ways. You can just bring it down if you want. And then do it again. So again, you've got this knee. You're going to use both feet to push. If they're really tall, like if I'm doing it to you and my feet aren't long enough, I'll then post with both feet on the inside of the knee. The leg. You can come up. You can do finish a bunch of ways or into a single. But you should come up and make it single. Any questions on the technical stand-up? Actually, we're just going to start with 2. The one to take the back is a little bit more complicated. We'll do that one next. So the next one, what we're going to do is we want them off balance. I don't want them posting necessarily on the mat. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to transition from this grip to the kneecap, turn it out. I'm going to drop my foot that was behind the knee, behind the ankle. I'm going to sweep it out. From this position, you can finish a couple ways. You can come up, keep this grip with your feet like this, like that. Or you can take the leg over your head into a leg back. You guys want to see that one again?
Yeah.
So from here, grab the knee with this hand, grab the kneecap, turn it out. So I'm kind of doing this sort of motion, turning my elbow in. This foot that's on the hip stays here. This foot drops down to the ankle, and I'm going to sweep that foot out. Now to keep things simple, what I'd like you guys to do for the finish is take this free hand, grab the ankle or the knee, pass it over your head, and come up into a leg grab. And from here, get your points. If you want to do the other one, then grab me. We can go over that one in more detail. Any questions? All right, let's do 3 minutes each. Sweep is to take the back. This was the one I actually started with first. Against higher level belts, it's a little bit harder because they're going to kick the leg. There's going to be a second sequence I'll show after we drill this on how to potentially get that to work. But it's fundamentally similar to the technical stand-up, right? So you're here, you've got the leg. So if I take the back, see how his foot's on this side of my neck? I have to get his foot over. So I usually I grab the gi, I put it here. Same thing. Once you pass it over the head, grab the belt or grab the back of the pants, and I'm just twisting, right? So the knee that was behind, the foot that's behind his knee, this bottom one, that knee is going to turn in and go behind his knee. Now the key is you really have to have his gi here. Because what people are going to do, they're going to try to take this leg and kick it out and sprawl it out that way. That's what I'm going to do, Josh. Yeah. So that's why you got to be tight. You have this leg passing over your head. This arm wrapped around it is key. Having that belt tight is key. And you're just gonna bring this leg in. And now that I'm in the crab route, I'm just gonna raise back. Simple, right? You guys wanna see again? So you have the leg on the head, you have that nice gable grip, you've turned the knee in. I'm just gonna transition with both hands. I'm gonna grab the gi, pass it over my head quick. At this point, this hand is still wrapped around the knee. This hand goes to the belt. And let's turn around. See, like this on the belt. If you can't grab the belt, you can grab the back of the pants, or you can grab the skirt, whatever you can grab. This is to keep them from running away. Then this knee, this is the knee that's behind, this is the leg that's behind his knee, turns in to here. And I just pull on the gi and I kick with my feet. Questions?
Would it be easier to bring the leg over, like if you extend, like to get it more off balance?
All
Like
these
make that
things.
foot lighter?
Yeah, all these things you want them kind of off balance, but yeah. What I'm doing is I'm pushing with my feet slightly. You're grabbing with both hands and then just passing it over the head. If you're having trouble getting the person's foot to move, just start making them move and it'll open up an opportunity. Any other questions?
Yeah, quick one. So what's the trigger for this? Like, why would you do this instead of, like extending them out, sweeping them backward or something like that?
I'll typically go for this first because I want my 4. If I'm really tired or they're really dynamic, I'll just take my 2 and do the stand-up. The problem that I've had at kind of higher belts is that when you begin to pass the leg over the head, they'll kick that leg around. So I'll show you something after this that I'm kind of beginning to work with to tighten that up. But people that know how to counter X-guard are going to be looking for you to pass that leg over. So it just depends. You kind of have to read your opponent. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Some stuff that, if we have time, I'll show you like entrances into matrix guard and knee bars, but without Bill here, I don't want anybody drilling a bunch of knee bars. So taking the back, what I had said, one of the problems is that when you pass this head over, like the person here defending is going to try to free this leg, and oftentimes they're going to turn all the way away and drive the knee into your stomach, like that, or they're going to try to kick it over and kick it that way, and then like sprawl out. Yeah. So in this position, one of the things I've just started doing and I'm messing around with is using the lapel. Right now, nice. So what I do here, I'm in this position. I try to feed this lapel. Now this is the one part where this can get a little dangerous. I'm still trying to figure out. Is when you pass this lapel under the leg, you got to be ready to quickly grab this leg. What you want to do is you want to pass this lapel in front of the leg, behind the knee, and then trap it here. Does that feel tight? Now at this point, I can continue to try to take the back if I want. I can pass this over. And I have a very tight control over this leg. He's not going anywhere with this. Or, come back over. I can do the same sweep I did earlier, maintaining this lapel into the leg drag here. What this lapel is doing is it's completely locking down his ability to move that leg. So I want you guys to have a little bit of time to drill weaving that lapel in, getting a little bit of familiarity on how to use lapels to restrict motion from the bottom. There's a whole lapel guard game, squid, stuff like that that's really nice. This is just sort of a similar, use the tools at your disposal. You guys want to see that again?
Yeah.
So you're here in this position. I've got the lapel. I'll feed it through like this. And I've got it behind the knee. And just, it's the same thing that we were doing with that 2-hand grip, but I just need 1 hand now. Now from here, I can pass this over my head. And same thing, I can work to take the back, Or you can just do that same sweep here. But when you do this, focus on using the lapel to flatten that knee. Because at this point you're already here and you can work the knee. Any questions? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Off of the crab ride, using the lapel. Anybody have any problems with it?
All right, do you get the belt also, or is that in place?
No, yeah. The reason I'm using the lapel around the knee is to make sure that they can't kick that leg out and around. So the problem that you have without the lapel, when they pass this leg over, some people are gonna do something like that. So when you're going for the back, I mean, you're going for 4 points, it's a little bit higher risk, so when you take that leg over, you gotta really take control of that leg, and the lapel is really just a way to make sure that, like at this point, my posture's broken, like I'm going for a ride. I'm just all right. So there's a lot you guys can do here. We're kind of out of time. There's transitions into single leg X, there's matrix, and bars, all sorts of stuff. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Put some time on the clock for the spar. Cool? All right, get some water. We'll do 5-minute break.